Do you have a girlfriend?
No, I don't, but if I did, Miss Lane, you'd be the first to know about it.
Everyone remembers Superman flying across the sky, but almost nobody knows what it took to make the world believe it. Behind the iconic cape lies a story of impossible casting choices, record-breaking salaries, and life-changing sacrifices that nearly stopped the film from ever happening. Here are the 15 unbelievable secrets behind Superman 1978. The first secret is, Christopher Reeve became the real Superman. For millions of fans, Christopher Reeve didn't truly become Superman when he first put on the famous blue suit. He became Superman years later. In 1995, a devastating horseback riding accident left him paralyzed from the neck down. Doctors believed he would never regain normal movement, and many expected him to disappear from public life. Instead, Reeve chose to fight. He became one of the world's strongest advocates for spinal cord injury research, raising millions of dollars and giving hope to countless families facing similar tragedies. The man who once inspired audiences by flying across the sky inspired them even more by refusing to give up when real life became harder than any superhero battle. His greatest act of heroism wasn't fictional. It was the life he lived after Hollywood. The second secret is, Marlon Brando received an unbelievable paycheck. Long before actors earned massive superhero salaries, Marlon Brando shocked Hollywood. Although his appearance as Jor-El lasts only around 10 minutes, he reportedly received about $3.7 million plus a percentage of the film's profits. That deal made him one of the highest-paid actors in movie history at the time. The studio believed Brando's legendary reputation would give the film instant credibility. It was an enormous gamble, but audiences around the world immediately recognized that Superman was aiming to be something far bigger than an ordinary comic book adaptation. The third secret is, Christopher Reeve was almost never Superman. Today, it's impossible to imagine anyone else wearing the cape. But in the late 1970s, the studio wasn't searching for an unknown actor. They wanted an established superstar. Names like Robert Redford, Paul Newman, Burt Reynolds, and several other famous actors were discussed. Christopher Reeve, a young Juilliard graduate with almost no major film experience, seemed far too risky. Yet during his screen test, he displayed something the bigger stars couldn't: the perfect balance between the awkward charm of Clark Kent and the inspiring confidence of Superman. One audition completely changed his life and the future of superhero movies. The fourth secret is, Reeve transformed his body in record time. When he first auditioned, Christopher Reeve looked far too slim for the role. Rather than replacing him, the filmmakers believed he possessed the right personality and gave him time to transform physically. Working with David Prowse, the bodybuilder who physically portrayed Darth Vader in Star Wars, Reeve trained relentlessly and gained nearly 30 pounds of muscle. The dramatic transformation convinced audiences they were looking at the strongest man on Earth. The fifth secret is, Superman's muscles were completely real. Modern superhero movies often rely on padded suits filled with artificial muscles. Superman, 1978, did the opposite. Christopher Reeve wore a costume with virtually no fake muscle enhancements, meaning the powerful physique audiences admired was genuinely his own. That authenticity helped make Superman feel believable. Combined with Reeve's natural charisma, it convinced generations of moviegoers that, for just over 2 hours, a man really could fly. The sixth secret is, Richard Donner filmed 2 Superman movies at the same time. Today, shooting back-to-back blockbusters is fairly common, but in the late 1970s, it was almost unheard of. Director Richard Donner wasn't just making Superman, 1978. He was simultaneously filming large portions of Superman 2. The ambitious plan was designed to save both time and money by using the same sets, costumes, and actors before they had to be rebuilt or rehired. It was an enormous logistical challenge. Cast members often switched between scenes from two different films on the same day, while Donner constantly balanced two separate storylines. Although the strategy was risky, it helped create one of the most ambitious superhero productions Hollywood had ever attempted. The seventh secret is, Richard Donner was fired despite making a blockbuster. Most directors who deliver one of the biggest hits of the year are rewarded with another sequel. Richard Donner experienced the exact opposite. Despite turning Superman into a worldwide success, creative disagreements with producers Alexander and Ilya Salkind grew increasingly intense during production. Eventually, Donner was removed from Superman 2 before completing the film. Much of the sequel had already been shot under his direction, but another director was hired to finish it. Decades later, fans finally saw Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, revealing how different his original vision had been. The eighth secret is, Margot Kidder wasn't the studio's first choice for Lois Lane. It's difficult to imagine anyone other than Margot Kidder bringing Lois Lane's fearless personality to life. Yet before she landed the role, several well-known actresses, including Goldie Hawn, Anne Archer, Susan Blakely, and Leslie Ann Warren, were seriously considered. The filmmakers searched for months, looking for someone who could match Superman's larger-than-life presence while remaining believable as an independent journalist. Kidder's natural chemistry with Christopher Reeve ultimately made the decision easy, creating one of cinema's most memorable superhero romances. The ninth secret is, Superman reversing Earth's rotation wasn't originally planned for this movie. One of the film's most unforgettable moments comes when Superman flies around the Earth so fast that time appears to reverse, allowing him to save Lois Lane. Surprisingly, this ending wasn't originally written for Superman, 1978. The idea had first been developed for Superman 2. As production schedules changed and the first movie needed a more spectacular finale, the sequence was moved into the original film. While some viewers debated the science behind it, the emotional impact made it one of the most iconic endings in superhero history. The 10th secret is, Krypton became one of the movie's most expensive sequences. Before Superman ever reached Earth, audiences were introduced to the dazzling crystal world of Krypton. Those opening scenes required elaborate sets, handcrafted crystal designs, advanced lighting techniques, and groundbreaking visual effects that consumed a remarkable portion of the film's budget. The investment paid off. Instead of feeling like a cheap comic book adaptation, Superman opened with a sense of scale and grandeur rarely seen in science fiction films of its era, immediately convincing audiences they were watching something extraordinary. The 11th secret is, Gene Hackman refused to shave his head. Lex Luthor is famously bald in the comics, but Gene Hackman had no intention of shaving his hair for the role. In fact, he made it clear before filming began that his hairstyle was non-negotiable. Rather than replacing him, the filmmakers found a clever solution. They gave Luthor a collection of wigs, turning the character's changing hairstyles into a running joke throughout the movie. Ironically, what started as a disagreement behind the scenes ended up becoming one of the character's most memorable quirks. The 12th secret is, Marlon Brando refused to memorize his lines. Even though he was one of the greatest actors of his generation, Marlon Brando had an unusual way of working. Instead of learning his dialogue, he preferred reading it during filming. Crew members hid his lines on baby Kal-El's blanket, pieces of the set, and even just off-camera, so he could glance at them while performing. It was unconventional, but Brando's commanding screen presence was so powerful that audiences never noticed. The 13th secret is, the filmmakers had to invent new flying technology. The movie's famous slogan promised, "You'll believe a man can fly." That wasn't just clever marketing, It was a technical challenge no one had truly solved before. Existing visual effects simply couldn't create convincing flying scenes, so engineers and special effects artists designed entirely new wire rigs, camera systems, and optical techniques specifically for Superman. Their breakthrough changed visual effects forever and became the foundation for countless superhero films that followed. The 14th secret is Christopher Reeve endured painful flying scenes. Looking graceful in the air was far more difficult than it appeared. Suspended by thin wires for hours at a time, Reeve repeatedly collided with equipment, struggled against uncomfortable harnesses, and performed the same flying shots over and over until they looked perfect. The audience saw effortless flight, but behind every smooth sequence were days of physically demanding work that pushed the young actor to his limits. The 15th secret is Superman changed superhero movies forever. When Superman, 1978, premiered, it proved that audiences would embrace comic book heroes if they were treated with sincerity, emotion, and cinematic scale. The film earned an Academy Award for its groundbreaking visual effects and became the blueprint for modern superhero blockbusters. Without its success, franchises like Batman, Spider-Man, and today's superhero universe might have looked very different. More than 4 decades later, Superman, 1978, remains far more than a classic superhero film. Its unforgettable performances, groundbreaking visual effects, and remarkable behind-the-scenes stories continue to inspire filmmakers and audiences alike. Which of these secrets surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible movie secrets.